Hi guys, my name is Nonema Tigela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So on this video, I want us to talk about the police. Let's talk about SEP's procedure breach because that is what the second thing that I noticed when it comes to the evidence of the gentleman that was in court, the kennel that was in court today. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down a bit because Sana akudlalwa, akudlalwa. When I say to you abadlali abafana, the defense and the lady abazangizodlala apha. Now let me get through this. This testimony is doing is extremely important because it starts exposing potential procedural breakdown inside police detention management, and legally that can become explosive depending on how the evidence linked to that so-called phone was later used. All right. Now, the witness essentially confirmed several critical things. Firstly, if a suspect is properly searched on arrival, prohibited items should not enter the cells. Secondly, if a prohibited item is later discovered, it means something in the system failed. Thirdly, there are mandatory documentary trails that should exist. Four, the officer who discovered the item must personally record it. Five, the incident potentially raises security, disciplinary, and evidential issues. That is a major foundation. Here is why. Now, the co-admission member didn't do their job. That is what we've been saying as the people that are watching the case, asking questions, because what do you mean that from accused number 2, Ntanzi, you found after a year and almost to the second year? It was a year, what, June 2020, June 2021, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. So it was a year and 8 months before Untansi they can discover that he has a cell phone in the cells. It doesn't make sense. Now, here is where it gets interesting because now the kennel that was in court today is admitting one co-admission is that his members didn't do their job, whoever that member was. The station commander effectively considered that if a suspect is later found with a cell phone inside custody, then officers may have failed to properly search the detainee at intake. That is huge because now the defense can begin asking, was the suspect ever properly searched? Were procedures actually followed? Were SEP's detention protocols ignored? Did officers later discover something that should never have been there? When exactly was the phone found? Who discovered it? Where is the paper trail? Was the discovery documented immediately? Was the chain of custody preserved? And most importantly, can the court trust the integrity of the detention environment? That becomes the bigger constitutional issue. All of that. Now, the importance of the registers, onto that now. The witness mentions multiple documentary systems, SEP 22, property seized or taken from a detainee, OB, SEP 10, occurrence book, records important station events, SEP 13, evidence register for exhibits connected to investigations. Now, the critical issue becomes, if the cell phone allegedly became evidence in a criminal matter, why was it not properly entered into SEP 13? Because once an item becomes evidential material, chain of custody becomes critical. And chain of custody is everything in a criminal procedure. Now, why would you use something that was not properly entered well evidential tonton? That is the question. Do you see how Ramasipile is dealing with all of these guys? Now, why chain of custody matters? In South African criminal law, evidence must be identifiable, traceable, properly stored, properly documented, and protected from contamination. If there are gaps, missing entries, unclear discoveries, undocumented movement, conflicting dates, or unclear possession, then the defense can argue contamination, fabrication, manipulation, or unreliability, especially with the digital evidence like a cell phone. Because phones are not passive objects, phones contain communication records, contacts, WhatsApps, internet activity, metadata, location information, photographs, timestamps. That means the court must know exactly what and when it was found, by whom, where, under what circumstances, and how it was preserved. Now, the big danger for the state when it comes to this, the dangerous part for the prosecution is this: the station commander already admitted that the discovery of a phone in custody signals a procedural failure. That opens the door for the defense to argue, if procedure failed at intake, what else failed? Not necessarily, sorry, that is how reasonable doubt grows, not necessarily from one dramatic moment, but from repeated procedural weaknesses. Now, the defense strategy emerging right there, because Oram Sipile is not here to play, guys. He ain't playing with nobody. Advocate Ramsipile appears to be building a broader narrative about procedural contamination, weak detention management, unreliable police handling, broken documentation systems, and possible evidential irregularities. This is not merely about, was there a cell phone? It becomes, how was it found, when, who handled it, why are the records incomplete or inconsistent? Did procedures comply with SEP's regulations? Because criminal courts care deeply about procedural integrity. Why this matters legally? Under South African constitutional criminal procedure, if evidence is obtained or handled improperly, the court may question reliability, admissibility, credibility, and fairness, especially where police procedure is already under attack elsewhere in the case. That is why this testimony matters far beyond a single cell phone. It potentially becomes another building block in a larger defense argument that the detention process, evidence handling, and investigative controls were not properly managed. And once a court starts losing confidence in system and procedures, every related piece of evidence starts facing heavier scrutiny. And now Oram Sipile has successfully made sure that that entire process, Urata is not trusting it. Whether Urata is who and what, the bottom line is that he's a judge and he knows his work, and he is going to be forced by Lady Justice to, now, when I keep saying to you guys that Lady Justice is going to force Judge Rota to do right, these are the things that are going to force him. Now, here is the procedure, and it was not followed. Uzotin. There's nothing that he can do. He needs to do right. Period. He needs to do right, and it's not a matter of does he want to make things right or not. It's not a matter of does he feel like doing it. It's not a matter of what if he can. No, he needs to make sure he does what is right according to Lady Justice and use the Constitution of South Africa, the Criminal Procedure Act, and deal with all of this. It's not up to him per se. It is, yes, it's him who's going to make decisions and stuff. However, him making those decisions, he needs to put the Criminal Procedure Act next to him. He needs to put the Constitution of South Africa, especially Section 35. That is where the juice is going to come from. So right now, he has no choice. He needs to face the music and do what is needed to be done. That's where everything is lying right now. That's where everything is. Whether yena ufilisha kanjani, uyathanda, akathandi, that's not where the crux of the matter is. The crux of the matter is do right by law. Are you able to bypass things by law when you can see for a fact, Kuti, here are the things and the things were not done properly? Then what? So Judge Rota has a huge deal and he has a problem. If they invited him over to come and do what he normally does, well, when it comes to this, the verdict is not going to be the same as he usually has. Judge Rota is going to rule in favor of the accused. I got a choice. Oh, I got a choice, son. In fact, at this point, I foresee him removing both the confessions as Gandans. I got a choice. We are not even done with this. the colonel is not even done with his evidence, but already Jadraja has to remove the evidence of the so-called confession from Untans. Do you see the things that are happening? What are your thoughts when it comes to this? So please make sure you do not forget to like, to share, to comment, and most importantly, please make sure you are subscribed on the channel. Please make sure you are watching the videos up until the end and you are watching the ads that are coming through. When you are doing that, you are supporting this channel financially and in numbers. And thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And I will see you on our next video. Bye.